Hello friends, today we are going to start Math Olympiad lecture series. Before I start this Math Olympiad lecture series, I would like to discuss with you about the mathematics. What is maths? I personally believe that maths is a way of thinking. It's not about the results, it's the method to get those results which is more important. You know, initially the world didn't recognize the significance of zero and fraction numbers. Slowly their thinking changed or improved. They started understanding the significance of zero and fractions. Today, if you see, the same thing we witness about these imaginary numbers. Because the term imaginary is limited by our imagination, and which I personally believe that our contemporary mathematicians, the word imaginary is little bit of friction providing not understanding those complex numbers. You know, in the beginning, even the negative numbers were considered useless for us. But slowly the concepts of debt came in and they started understanding the importance of those negative numbers. One thing I will also tell you that how we should go ahead about learning mathematics. There were three travelers. I'm just telling you one Scottish proverb. You might be knowing this thing. Three travelers were traveling in Scotland somewhere. They were traveling in a train, and the right hand side there was a big window, glass window. They all were peeping outside. All of a sudden they saw a red cow. So traveler A says that all the cows in Scotland are red. And traveler B says that few of the cows in Scotland are red. And you know what traveler C says? That at least one cow in Scotland is red. So, factually, if you analyze all these three, you will see that the third statement given by the mathematician, that is the traveler C, that at least one cow in Scotland is red. And factually, if you see, that has to be correct. If we keep on increasing that way, the time will come where we'll put so many other things in that facts that the person who said that there are at least one cow in Scotland is red was not colorblind. So that way we are going to improve our thinking, and that way our mathematics will also be advancing in a right direction. As we come to this Maths Olympiad in India particularly, it is divided in different stages. Stage 1 is called the pre-RMO, that is Pre-Regional Maths Olympiad. Stage 2 is called the Regional Maths Olympiad. In pre-RMO, that is Pre-Regional Maths Olympiad, it's open from class 8 to class 12, and 300 students are selected from grade 8 to 11, and 60 students are selected from grade 12 in each region. And then they compete for the Regional Maths Olympiad. And in this Regional Maths Olympiad, 60 students from grade 8 to 11 and 5 students from grade 12 go for the Indian National Maths Olympiad. And then after qualification in the Indian National Maths Olympiad, there is a 35 student camp they organize before they leave for the International Maths Olympiad. And similarly, if you see in the US, there is AMC 10, AMC 12, that is American Maths Contest 10 and 12, followed by AIME, that is American Invitational Maths Exam, then USAMO, that is United States of America Maths Olympiad, and then MOSP, that is Math Olympiad Summer Program. And after that summer program, which is a kind of a camp, they go for the International Maths Olympiad. As a student of mathematics, and particularly if you are going to prepare for the Maths Olympiad, few things I would like to tell you. There are the few things you have to remember how you should approach. First thing, that you have to practice a lot. There is no shortcut for the practice. There is no substitute for the practice. There is no shortcut method. And always use the fundamental elementary techniques, but in a clever way. Understand the ideas and the proofs of the theorems rather than by hearting the theorems. Keep trying. Never run out of things to try. Means you should have a different, all the time you must have a different idea to solve the problem. And one more important thing, don't be too adamant on any particular approach, that this is a particular approach which I'm going to use for the particular problem. So today we are going to start the number theory, and different parts of the number theory are there. So today we are going to start divisibility. So we are going to start today the number theory, and within number theory we will be discussing today is the divisibility. The other parts, that is division algorithm, GCDs, prime numbers, Diophantine equation, this all will be dealing in the coming lectures. So one thing we few the elementary divisibility things which we already know. A number is divisible by 2. How we identify if a number is divisible by 2? Last digit, if it is even, we say the number is divisible by 2. Similarly, if I talk about the divisibility by 3, so a number is said to be divisible by 3 if the sum of the digits is divisible by 3. How we get this thing? Let's say we have a number A, B, C. Let's say we have a 3-digit number A, B, C. So A, B, C can be written as 100A plus 10B plus C. Further we can break it as a 99A plus 9B plus C and plus 1A which is left over there and 1B which is left there. So you can see this number is divisible by 3. Now if I can make C plus A plus B divisible by 3, so we can say this number is divisible by 3. Because this part, it's already, you see there's a 99 is a multiple of 3, so it has to be divisible by 3. 9b is multiple of 3, so it has to be divisible by 3. So if this is divisible by 3, we can say the number A, B, C is divisible by 3. So what we say, in order to get the divisibility of A, B, C, we add the numbers A plus B plus C, and the number is divisible by 3. These lectures which I'm giving you, I'm trying to address from class 8 and up to class 12. Now I'll see the divisibility by 4. Let's say any number I take A, B, C, D, E. So this number I can write E plus 10D plus 100C plus 1000 B plus 10,000 A. Now we are checking the divisibility by 4. So nothing we can tell about E, and nor we can tell anything about 10D. But I can confirm that the number 100C is divisible by 4. We are checking the divisibility by 4. Why we can confirm that the 100C is divisible by 4? Because that can be broken, 100 can be written as a 4 into 25C. And similarly, further you can write this 1000 as 100 into 10, and then you can again break that 100 as 10 into 4. So 4 into 25 into B, and we can confirm this is divisible by 4, and the last number we can also confirm divisible by 4 because it is a multiple of 100. So rest all the terms starting from 100C and onwards. You see all the numbers are divisible by 4. We are assured about this thing, these all the numbers, even if it is 7, 8, 9, any digit number is there, we are sure about it. But the only thing we are not certain about this thing. So this E plus 10D can be written as DE. So if these last two digits, if I can confirm it is divisible by 4, we can confirm the number ABC is ABCDE, which is a 5-digit number, is divisible by 4. Now see, this concept we can apply in the other numbers also. We can find the divisors of 100 and all the combinations of the divisors of 100, because 4 is one of the divisor of 100, with satisfying this condition. All the numbers which are the divisors of 100 can also satisfy this condition. Which are these numbers are there? 4 is there, 10 definitely will satisfy this condition. You can see this onwards, all the numbers are divisible by 10. 20, which is one of the divisor of 100, you can see all the numbers starting from 100C to 1000B, these all are divisible. Same thing we can use for 25, same we can use for the 50. So just mere by writing this thing in this way, we can confirm that the number is divisible by 4 if the last two digits are divisible by 4. And same thing we can apply for all these numbers. Why we can apply all these numbers? Because see, these all are the divisors of 100. So if there is a number which is a divisor of 100, it has to be the divisor of 1000, it has to be divisor of 10,000 and so on. So from the 4's divisibility, we have also formed a divisibility with 4, 10, 20, 25 and 50. In all these cases, if I want to check whether a number is divisible by given these numbers, what we will do? We will just check the divisibility of the last two digits. Now divisibility by 5, it's very common and we all know. If a number is divisible by 5, if the last digit is 0 or the last digit is 5. Same thing we can go with the divisibility by 6. Divisibility by 6, if we can confirm a number is divisible by 2 as well as divisible by 3. Because 6 can you write, 6 you can write 2 into 3. So if we can confirm a number is divisible by 2, so we can confirm a number is divisible by 2 just by checking whether the number is even or not. And simultaneously we can also confirm that the number is divisible by 3. We know the divisibility rule of 3, that we add all the digits. How many order of the digit number is given? If a 5-digit number is given or 6-digit number, is simply add the digits and check whether that sum is divisible by 3 or not. So if any if any even number is there and that number is also divisible by 3, we can confirm that the number is divisible by 6. Now we come to the divisibility by 7. So the divisibility by 7 I will be telling you in the later part of the lecture, and we'll now come with the divisibility by 8. Let's say again I take this number A, B, C, D, E. This is a number I take A, B, C, D, E. We are checking the divisibility by 8. Divisibility by 7, I will tell you in the later part of the lecture. Okay? So, now we are checking the divisibility by 8. And just A, B, C, D, E, again the number I can write as E plus 10D, 10D plus 100C plus 1000B plus 10,000A. Now the concept which I used in this means forced divisibility, the same concept I will be using over there. Now see, 100C we cannot confirm anything. 100C may be 100, 100C may be 200, 100C may be 300. So we cannot confirm anything about it. But we see this number. Can I confirm the divisibility by 1000B? 1000B, let's check. So you know that 1000 can be written as 8 into 125. So 1000 is one of the divisor, 1000's one of the divisor is 8 and 1000 one of the divisor is 125. So when I'm checking the divisibility with 8, the same time I'm also telling you the divisibility of 125. So this is one of the divisor of 8, in total I'm talking about. This is also one of the divisor of 8. So these two numbers are always divisible by 8. These two numbers are always divisible by 8 irrespective of the values of B and A. Now, we have to confirm the divisibility of this one. And see, this number is basically CDE. E plus 10D plus 1000C can be written as CDE. So if last three digits are divisible by 8, so we can confirm that the entire number is divisible by 8. It may be a 7-digit number, any digit number it may, you have to check the last three digits only. If the last three digits are divisible by 8, then we say that this number is divisible by 8. And now see, we can develop some interesting results also here. If we convert these prime factors of 1002, so you can write 2 raised to the power 3 into 5 raised to the power 3. So any kind of a combination if I make using these 3 2's and 3 5's, any kind of a combination I can pick 1 2 or 2 5, I can pick 3 2 and 1 5. Similarly, so whatever the combination you can make, so that will definitely divide 1000. And if that divides 1000, so that will definitely divide 1000B. That will definitely divide the next number 10,000A, and similarly if I keep on increasing the values of 0 and writing so many numbers, those all are divisible by the number which I form here. So what numbers we can form here? You see 8 we already have formed. The next number we can 5, I picked 8 and 5, so 40 is going to be one of the number. 3 2's I take and 1 5 I take. Similarly if I take let's say all the 5 3's, and so we get 125. The same method we will be using here. We can also get the 250. We can also use the 500. So see, these all will have the same divisibility rule, which is the divisibility rule of 8, means the last 3 digits. So last 3 digits, so for 8, 40, 125, 250 and 500, the same divisibility rule we will be using here. So the divisibility rule of 8 is also applicable in the divisibility rule of 8, 40, 125, 250 and 500. I hope you understood the concept behind it. Because the moment we can factorize it and we find all the divisors, so all the numbers starting from 1000b, rest all the numbers are divisible, and we simply have to check the divisibility of these things. So now we'll check the divisibility by 9. See, the divisibility by 9 is quite easy. Let's say I take a number A, B, C, D, E. So that's number we write E plus 10D plus 100C plus 1000B plus 10,000 A. And see, this number we can break and we can also write a number like E plus 9D. I have broken that 10D as a 9D plus D. I have broken 100C as a 99C plus C. Similarly, 1000B I have broken 999B plus 9999A. So I left 1A there, I left 1B there, I left 1C there, I left 1D there, and 1E obviously. So I just picked that E there, and the number I'll write here, A plus B plus C plus D plus E. Now you see, this number is divisible by 9, 99 divisible by 9, 999B is divisible by 9, 9999A is divisible by 9. So if this we can confirm this number is divisible by 9, we can confirm this 5-digit number ABCDE is also divisible by 9. So the rule which we use for the 3, the same rule we'll be using here is add all the numbers. If the summation is divisible by 9, we say that the number is divisible by 9. Now tens divisibility we all understand, the last digit has to be 0. Now we come with the divisibility by 11. Now before starting the divisibility by 11, one simple term I'll introduce here and I'll tell you what is the meaning of that. If somewhere it is written that A congruent B mod C, what does it mean? The meaning of A congruent B mod C is, if I divide a number A by C, the remainder which I get is equal to the remainder which I get when I divide B by C. Means whatever the remainder you will get from A, if you divide by C, and the remainder which you will get when you divide B by C, both are same. So before introducing with the divisibility by 11, I'll check what we can write here. 10 congruent minus 1 mod 11. So if I divide 10 by 11, the remainder I'll get is 10 there. And same way when I divide minus 1 by 11, again the same remainder I'll get there. Because if any confusion is there, you can write minus 1 divided by 11 can be written as a 1 upon minus 11, and 1 you can divide with minus 11, and when you subtract this, you will understand that you are getting the remainder there 10. So both are same there. So, and if I write 100 congruent 1 modulo 11. 100 if I divide by 11, the remainder which I'll get is 1. And when 1 I divide by 11, the remainder I'll get 1. So, and similarly again if you see for the 1000, if you check 1000 congruent minus 1 modulo 11. So in short we can write 10 raised to the power n congruent minus 1 raised to the power n modulo 11. So if you substitute the value, if you write n is equals to 1 there, you can see this first case. If you write n is equals to 2, you can see you will get the second case. If you write n is equals to 3, you will get the third case. See why we are doing this thing. Now we should try to understand the idea behind it. See, we will be breaking all these numbers as we are doing in A, B, C, D. And if I add 11 is 1 more than 10 and 9 was 1 less than 10. So that way we will be substituting C. Now let's say I take a number there 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's say I take this number there. So one thing we already know that 100 congruent 1 modulo 11. So when 100 is divided by 11, the remainder is 1, and when 1 is divided by 11, the remainder is 1. So we will try to break this thing in the powers of 100, so that each time whenever you are dividing those terms, you are sure about what the remainders you will be getting there. So from this side you start breaking in two blocks you make. Up see, you can write this number as a 78 plus 56 into 100 or 10 raised to the power 2 plus 34 into 10 raised to the power 4. I hope it is clear to you. I am just writing with the multiple, the 100, 100, 100 like that. And then we can write 12 into 10 raised to the power 6. So now if I see that 56 into 10 raised to the power 2 there. So just try to understand this 100 is basically written 56 times. And each of the 100 when you divide by 11, you will be getting the remainder 1. So from each of the 100, if I dividing by 11, we are getting the remainder 1. How many hundreds are written there? 56 hundreds are written there. So basically when I divide by 11, the remainder which I will get here is 56. Plus. When I divide same way, you see that I just told you that 10 raised to the power n congruent minus 1 raised to the power n mod 11. So now see, if I write n is equals to 4 there, again you see the remainder which you will get minus 1 raised to the power 4, that has to be 4. The same way whatever I was getting there in 56, the same thing I will be repeating over here. And thus 10 raised to the power 4 is written 34 times. So from each of the 10 raised to the power 4, you will find that 1 the remainder you are getting. So basically I will be getting 34 there. And then you see 12 into 10 raised to the power 6, again the same thing you will be getting there, that is a 12. So what you do there, now you can add it and just divide by 11 and you find out the remainder. If you get the remainder 0, you will confirm that the number is divisible by 11, otherwise the number is not divisible by 11. So this sum is 180, and this when 180, when it's divided by 11, you see 180 can be written as a 16 into 11 plus 4. So here this number is not divisible by 11, rather the 4 you will get as a remainder. So understood just by breaking in the powers of 10 raised to the power 2, we can find it out whether the number is divisible by 11 or not. Same way, now we added 1 in 10 and we got 11. Same procedure I can use for 101 also. See, 101, so this 100 congruent minus 1 mod 101. So when 100 is divided by 101, and the minus 1 when you divide it by 101, the same remainders will get. And similarly 100 raised to the power 2 congruent minus 1 mod 101, and this will be 1, and then 100 raised to the power 3 will be minus 1 mod 101. So in general you can write 100 raised to the power n is equals to minus 1 raised to the power n mod 101. So this is the way we can find it out. Now you will say if I break any number, just like we've done in 11, let's say I take a number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we'll break into 2 like this, and you can write as a 78 plus 56 into 10 raised to the power 2 plus 34 into 10 raised to the power 4 plus 12 into 10 raised to the power 6. So leave that 78 now, and the 56 into 10 raised to the power 2 modulo 101 if I find. So what you will see there, if I'm keeping 100 raised to the power 1, in that case you will see the remainder which you will be getting minus 1. So that you will get minus 56. And when you keep the power 2 there, you get the modulus remainder is 34. And then you will get minus 12 and the 78. Because now you see that it's a changing. Earlier when we are doing with 11, when we're 10 raised to the power 2's power we considered, it was uniform. It was everywhere you were getting 1, 1, 1, 1, 1 there. So when you are getting for 101, you can see that the 10 raised to the power 2, it will be minus 1. 10 raised to the power 4, it will become plus. And then 10 raised to the power 6, it will become negative. Now we can add these numbers and we can find out whether the number is divisible by 101 or not. The way we have done in 11. And now we can write the same method for 101, and from there we can develop so many things. So now we will discuss the divisibility by 1001. So, and this 1001's divisibility will lead us further divisibilities of 7 and 13, which I told you in the beginning that I will be telling you the divisibility with 7 later. So see, when 1000 congruent minus 1 modulo 1001. So obviously if 1000 you divide by 1001, the remainder you will get 1000, and that the same remainder you will get when you divide minus 1 by 1000. So if I raise the power, now 10 raised to the power 3 raised to the power 2 congruent minus 1 raised to the power 2 modulo 1001. And we can also write that 10 raised to the power 3 raised to the power 3 congruent minus 1 raised to the power 3 modulo 1001. So basically you will understand, you will see then the number we are dividing 10 raised to the power 3, 10 raised to the power 3 square, 10 raised to the power 3 cube. The remainders you will keep getting from minus 1 plus 1 minus 1 plus 1 like that. So any number I take, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and we are checking the divisibility with 1001. So what I'll do, I'll break this in the terms of 10 raised to the power 3. So we can write as a 678 plus 345 into 10 raised to the power 3 plus 12 into 10 raised to the power 3 square. This is the way we can express this number. And now, when 345 into 10 raised to the power 3 congruent 1001, we will see when we will divide this number by 1001, you will see this time we will get the remainder 345. From each of the 10 raised to the power 3, you will get minus 1 remainder, and you will notice that 345 10 raised to the power 3 is written. So that from each of 10 raised to the power 3, you are getting remainder minus 1. So you will get minus 345. And there you will get 678. And here you will get, since it's a positive, square is there, so you will get 12. So if we simplify it, 678 plus 12 is 680 and 90 and 345. So you'll get 345. So this is 345. Now 345, what the remainder you will get when you will divide this number by 1001, so which is not divisible by 1001. Now see, this 1001, if you get the prime factors of 1001, you'll notice that you will get 7 into 11 into 13. Now the same method we will be using for the divisibility of 7 and 13. The way I told you how to get when we are dividing by 8, we were checking the divisibility by 8. That time we also checked the divisibility, means we found the divisors of 100 and then we found the divisibility of 8 and there was a divisibility by 40 and like that. So the same method will be same. So now you see that 345 you are getting. Just in order to check the divisibility with 7, now we'll divide 345 by 7 and we'll get the remainder there. Same method we'll be using for the divisibility by 13 also. So now if anywhere you are asked to check the divisibility of any number, let's say I do A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. This is a number I is given. So you just make the blocks of 3, 1, 1 and 1. The first one you just write as GHI and the next will be minus, that is minus DEF, and then it will be plus ABC. If some more XY is also written there, so we'll start with a plus, minus, plus, minus. And you add all these numbers and whatever the number final you get, you just divide by 7 and 13 and check whether the number is divisible by 7 or not. So a few more things we'll be developing now, and before I develop the new thing, I'll just take you back and how we found a divisibility with 9 there. If ABC is divisible by 9, how we write this? You say that the A plus B plus C, if it is divisible by 9, then we can confirm that the number ABC is divisible by 9. And how we get this thing, you also know that ABC can be written as a C plus 10B plus 100A. And then you can break as a C plus 9B plus 99A plus A plus B plus C. I will take it, I will write it here. So if A plus B plus C is divisible by 9, and we already know this is divisible by 9, so we can confirm the number is divisible by 9. Now I will tell you how we can find other numbers whose divisibility we can check using these concepts. Up see, I take a number 999, and this can be written as a 27 into 37. The same concept I will be using here. See, now instead of breaking with a 10, we were writing the 10 raised to the power 1, 10 raised to the power 2 when we are checking the divisibility by 9. Here we will be converting in 10 raised to the power 3. Because 10 raised to the power 3 is 1000, and 999 plus 1 will automatically become 1000. So let's say any number is given 47,109,362. Clear? So what I'll do, first I'll break in the powers of 10 raised to the power 3. So we can write 362 plus 109 into 10 raised to the power 3 plus 47 into 10 raised to the power 6. And now we can write 362 plus 109 into 999 plus 1 plus 47 into 999 plus 1 raised to the power 2. So if I open the bracket there, we can write 362 plus 109. And here you see, if I open the square over there, so we'll get a square plus b square plus 2ab, and the b square will automatically become 1, and that multiplied by 47. So we'll get 47. And rest of the term you can see 109 into 999 plus 47 into 999 plus 2 into 47 into 999 will get. So you can see these numbers are divisible by 999. So these numbers are divisible by 999, or we can say this number is also divisible by, I'm talking about this number only, this number is also divisible by 37, because 37 is one of the divisor of 999. Same time we can also confirm that this number is also divisible by 27, because 27 is one of the divisor of 999. So we need to confirm this part only. The moment we confirm this number is divisible by 999, or we can confirm this number is divisible by 37, or this number is divisible by 27. So in that, we can confirm the divisibility of this number by 37 or 27. So for that, we'll add these numbers. This is 362, 109 plus 47. So we'll get 9, 9, 18, 8, 1 and 5, 518. So 518's divisibility you can check. 518 can be written as a 37 into 14. So that way you can see this number is divisible by 37. Same way we can develop so many other results. You can go with 1, 000, 1, 0001, and you can find out whether it's a prime number, and you can find out the divisors of 1, 0001, and you can find, you can develop the results also. So this is the way we'll be approaching. One more different approach we are going to discuss, and then the rest of the divisibility and the problems we'll be dealing in the next lecture. So was one simple example I'll take, and then we'll finish like 2 days later.